What's up, y'all? Were you trying to mimic me?
I was, and then I lost it.
You lost it? You lost the momentum?
I lost it.
What is up, you guys? Happy Tuesday!
Happy Tuesday!
We are continuing a live stream series tonight. For those of you who have not been acquainted yet, it's going to be another in the Making the Monsters series.
We're just not ready to not do haunt stuff.
Well, the fact of the matter is East Coast Haunters is coming up,
It's true.
and that is the biggest networking connection event of the haunt industry on this coast, not including the Transworld event that already occurred. So we're trying to ramp up a little bit by celebrating some of our friends in the industry. To wit, we have a special guest for you tonight. If you looked at the thumbnail before you clicked on it, most people would, I would think, you may already know who it is. But for those who don't, we would like to welcome a very special guest and a friend of our family here tonight, Crystal!
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Pretend like we didn't already answer all these questions on stage. We could have the whole conversation over again.
Thank you so much for
Yes.
being our second guest.
Yes.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure talking to you guys.
It's
fun.
mutual.
It is.
We were all teed up to have Crystal on the show 2 weeks ago, and unfortunately the plague got her. So Sapphire traded spots with her and we were able to kickstart. But your whole family is basically just interwoven into the haunt industry as a whole. So it made perfect sense to bring both of you on.
Yep.
At some point we'd love to have Ken on too, because y'all do everything. Literally, like you have your hands in everything.
We learned from Sapphire you guys are called the family for
Which
sounds like a mafia name. But
Yep, we're the family.
Watch out, it's the family. There are already just way too many comments for me to keep up with. I'm going to apologize in advance for all of you watching that have comments. I'm going to try my best to keep up with them. I tried my best to keep up with them when Saf was on. There's a lot. We won't get to all of them, but we will try to highlight the ones that are exceptionally exciting.
a lot of enthusiasm there.
Thank you guys all for showing up and for supporting Crystal and family. It's always a treat to have anything to do with this amazing family, but especially to have you on the show. The show.
We're just having a chat.
We are having a little chat. So yeah, we wanted to have Crystal on. We wanted to have Saf on the last time to talk about several different things that she does, including the Scaredy Bears, which is sort of the creative side, as well as a little bit of the makeup and a little bit of the acting. You are full on makeup. Like you live in this.
Yes.
So, and primarily for Field of Screams, right? I know have you done makeup for other haunts or just
I did makeup one night for a local haunt here in Delaware, Curly's Haunt, which I'm sure you guys know. Yes.
Okay. So let's I mean we have a while. We have Crystal as our hostage here for the evening. So we have a lot of questions for you. But let me go ahead and lead off with your official job. I'll do what I did with Saf, and I'll just put all the questions in the comments so that I can put them on the screen.
Fancy stuff.
Yes, I know, we're crazy creative. What's your official job title at Field of Screams?
So I'm an effects artist. I do makeup mostly. I do hop out and act every once in a while. That's how I started there. But I'm better with being behind the scenes.
Understand. I mean, I think that a cool thing about haunt acting or just being a part of the haunt in general is that you can be a completely different person behind the scenes as when you're like out on the midway or in an attraction or whatnot, which I find super appealing about the acting side of things. But I think it also works for like everyone who's doing makeup and whatnot. Like you're having acted, and I think it's your actor or character role that we put in the thumbnail that you had sent us previously. Gage. Thank you, Gage. We agree. Crystal is incredible.
Gage is so sweet.
Crystal, I'm
Gage
sending
has always been. Oh no.
No, it's happening. It's happening. Don't fight it.
Shout out to Gage though, because he's been online supporter since my very beginning of my effects journey. He's awesome.
I cannot disagree. Gage has been
a pretty staunch supporter,
supporter since the beginning. So we absolutely love interacting with him.
Yes, Gage is awesome.
I legit can't remember what I was about to say, but I remember what I'm going to say now, which is, as an effects producer, what does that job entail? What does a typical night look like? So,
we typically have to arrive 3 or 4 hours before the attractions open. So we get there, we get set up, and then we have to hurry up and try to get all the actors made up for their specific scenes and get them out the door. And we just turn them into their characters.
This is not an official question that we sent you, but it's just one that I'm curious about, which is like, how long does it take per person to get, because you guys have like an assembly line and you have to get people in and out very quickly.
Yes. So every night, every night is different. I saw in an interview that Gene did once before, and he said that we can get up to 200 actors a night. I don't count the actors when they come in, so I don't actually know, but that's what I'm going by. That's a busy night. So we have to try to do it as fast as possible in order to get everybody out the door. So we aim to get an actor out from start to finish 15 to 20 minutes. If I'm doing a clown look, they can be more complicated, or if I'm doing a look where I use liquid silicone, it can take up to 40 minutes, but we try not to do that. But yeah, 15 to 20 minutes is like the sweet spot.
Is there an order to who comes in when, like, say you got clowns and nocturnal wasteland mutants to do this particular night? Like, is it just not clown, not is it just random, or is it like? So
we have, I think we have 14 or 15 makeup artists. They're not always all there each night, but we have a tier system. So over the summertime, we basically like tested and saw who was most efficient at producing what types of looks. And so we have like our newer makeup artists, they do, they'll do more of the contouring and the like asylum patients with like more simplified wounds. They won't be using silicone and stuff like that. And that helps them master those looks, and it also helps get the actors out the door. And then you have people that are higher up on the tier system that take the more complicated detail looks. So myself, I take clowns and dolls first. And we have a few other makeup artists that do clowns and dolls first. So, and then on top of that, we've got 4 attractions at Field. We've got the Hayride, Den of Darkness, the Asylum, and Nocturnal. So we have lines up in the effects room for each attraction, and the actors will get in the line for whatever attraction they're going to be acting in. If the Den of Darkness is going to be the first attraction opening that night, all of us makeup artists have to take those actors first. And that's how we do it, and we'll go through. each attraction.
That makes sense.
It does make
Yes.
sense.
For the uninitiated, talking about Field of Screams specifically as a haunt, the 4 attractions you just named, within those attractions there are little vignettes. So like when we say dolls, we're talking about like an area where there are 5 or 6 actors. Usually for us, I mean, I've never been in there when it's not crazy. But some areas with a few, like a handful of actors, and some with a lot of actors, and some with 1 or 2 actors.
Right.
But you have to kind of, I understand what you're saying, where you have to like prioritize getting this done to open this attraction with the many vignettes.
Right.
And then the next attraction that opens and so on.
Mhm.
So you already have, by that standard, quite a bit of variation in the looks you're doing for each attraction. It's not just clowns for 50 people straight.
And it's
then
not the
like,
same
No.
clown either
No.
over and over again.
No.
No. We that's the fun thing about Field is there's not really any characters that we have to do each night like the same. Every time somebody sits in our chair, we have artistic freedom to do whatever we want as long as it's appropriate for the scene that they're acting. So clowns are always different.
Fun. This, and we have some questions filing in from the Peanut Gallery, which I will try to find a narrative appropriate time to ping you with. But I do want to dive into something that we already know from talking with you, but just give everyone else kind of an understanding of your story. What did draw you to working in effects and makeup?
So honestly, that's hard to pinpoint. Ever since I was young, I've just always been into art, and anything art related. Even when I was in high school, I chose to do auto body. Even though I don't care about cars, I was like, I want to paint cars. Anything art related. When I was a younger teenager, before it was like socially acceptable by the average person to be, you know, alternative, I used to do makeup much like what I do today for myself. And people looked at it as clown makeup back then. Now we see people with makeup like mine all the time. And my makeup back then got crazier and crazier. I used to do swirls for like daily makeup and stuff, and I just have always enjoyed doing it, and I like doing more unique things. So then when I got involved in the haunt industry, I was like, you know what, this is like where I can do like the crazy things and, you know, be able to have fun with it and just, you know, create.
Yeah. I mean, I guess another way to unpack this is, did you start in makeup at Field on day one?
Okay.
Or
No.
Okay.
So I started at Field as a hayride actor. I did not act very much my first year. Anxiety got the best of me a lot of the nights. I would hang out and stuff while Sapphire and Echo and, you know, Mateo and Dre and Ken would all act, and I would kind of like linger. But I did act a few times. And then on my second year there, I was like, I really want to do makeup. And Sapphire knew Kylie well, and she's like, well, why don't you reach out to Kylie? And I was like, is that who I need to talk to? And I did, and Kylie said, come out to classes in the summertime and we'll take it from there. And so I did the classes at Field over the summertime, and then that was that.
Didn't look back.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will say, from our having had conversations with Kylie as well, and from way back, I say back in the day, it was 2 years ago when you sat for Kylie and became Irene. Back in the day. When we were talking with Kylie about like misconceptions in the industry, one of her top ones that she mentioned was anyone can do it. Like the thought that anyone can do it, there's some truth to that, but there's a huge misconception around like, okay, I think all it is just putting paint on someone's face and making them look spooky and then setting them out, and it's so much more complicated than that. Like it's
I think anyone can do it, but not
Anyone-
everyone can do it super well without
Right.
I
learning
think
and
anyone
practice,
can
right?
learn the tools,
Yeah.
but not everyone has the inherent talent to
Yeah.
like make it
Right.
make it what it needs to
Yeah.
be for a
I think
National League haunted attraction.
I think you can learn certainly to do shadows, contouring, things like that,
Mhm.
because basically you're just following, typically like the natural anatomy of someone's face for that, and that can look spooky. But I mean, we're going to show off some of Crystal's looks in a
I do
little
want
bit,
to get to that.
and I don't think that happens overnight necessarily. And plus, you already had the passion, and I mean, I've told you this before, Crystal. I can't even get like winged eyeliner to look right.
Hold on, I'll pull it out. She's got the wings tonight.
Yeah,
Oh,
look
jeez.
and that's like, this is our normal look, and I'm like, I'm lucky if I have washed my face in the morning, much less put any makeup on. So like, just already having that.
You don't need makeup. You're gorgeous.
Just having like the steady hand and the ability to be like, I'm gonna do this on one side, and it's gonna look similar to what I'm doing on the other side. Or I guess with horror makeup, you can purposely make it unsymmetrical, and it will still look
Right.
good.
Right. And
I guess
in some looks, it actually ends up benefiting when you mess up. Sometimes you're like, oops. And then it ends up turning into a wound that you didn't plan on putting there, and you're like, "Oh, that
Such a
actually looks really cool."
Bob Ross mentality, and I love that. Like, there's no mistakes. There's just happy accidents that end up being great.
Yep.
Donnie, we appreciate you, man.
Yes, please do like the stream. It helps us.
Yeah, weirdly, I
Aw.
think I don't know if I want to say this out loud and jinx it, but I think we have some fans out there that have set up bots to dislike some of our videos. So like every video now will get a solid 4 dislikes within the first like hour or two. And then after that, it'll counterbalance, and it doesn't really matter. But also, if you want to give us more likes than dislikes, we wouldn't say no to you hitting the thumbs up button.
Yep. Show your love for Crystal.
Yes.
Hit the like button.
Aw.
Absolutely. Okay, new question. I love that we're kind of answering all the questions like as we
I was
talk,
gonna
and,
say,
like,
I
some
think
of
we
them,
actually
yeah,
hit a
we just
couple.
lopped off of
fine.
our list as we go.
See, conversation. It's just flowing.
So, in your time at Field, have you noticed or adapted to any major changes in industry norms, different molds, different types of paint, different manufacturers, etc.?
I've only been doing makeup for a couple years now, so I haven't seen anything major. We were using prosthetics and stuff that Kylie would make. And I'd say we've kind of backed off of the prosthetics, and we do a lot of liquid silicone now for a lot of our looks.
Does the liquid silicone, does that mean like you kind of like mold it as you go, kind of?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
rather than like putting the prosthetic that's already made and covering the paint.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. It's 2 parts that you mix together, and yeah, you spread it on your face and you shape it how you need it. You create your ridges and stuff for boils or cuts or burns or
So what prompted the change from using like pre-made stuff to like, is it easier? Is it better?
it's not
Is it quicker?
easier, but it's not quicker. It looks so much better.
Looks
You can
better,
blend the edges. You don't have like harsh edges, and
Right.
It stays on really well. It doesn't peel as easy as a lot of the prosthetics when an actor's out there sweating and
Yep.
running around and stuff. So, but yeah, you can get some really cool looks with liquid silicone. So,
All right.
That's actually another great thought. Is like there are some places like I've acted at Laurel's House of Horror, and we go real hard on the makeup over there when we're in character because we're all indoors and you have to work with the shadows or you don't have the effects. But you guys are very like, there's some attractions that are indoor, there are some attractions that are outdoor, there are some attractions that are hybrid, there are some characters that are in masks and others that are in like full makeup. Does the environment, not necessarily the theme, but does the environment play a role in how you're going to do makeup for somebody? Like, is this person going to be too hot, or is this person going to have to run around and scrape their makeup off, or so on and so forth? Too.
So we use alcohol-based paints, so they're pretty sweat-proof and stuff like that. So we don't have to switch up too much. But if we know, say it's raining and you have an outdoor actor, we won't necessarily put on silicone because you're more likely going to have it peel up in the middle of the night if the actor's getting rained on all night. And we won't put in as much detail if somebody's going to be in harsh weather conditions or something. But for the most part, we use alcohol-based paints and stuff, and it really takes a lot to get it off. So
we know that.
We start. I mean, my first time putting on makeup in any capacity, it took forever and a half to get off, and the second time, I think I got it off a bit quicker. But also, I think it was definitely not as dramatic for me the second time around, the actual makeup job. So that plays a role.
You
too.
had short sleeves on the first time. You had to get your whole arms done up.
Yes.
And I've had my arms.
A variety of mistakes were made on my part, but I'm learning as I go, which is important for the industry.
I think the best secret is like coconut oil or something, and kind of like loosens it up.
I wound up doing coconut oil plus the loofah, plus just like the rub like constantly for like an hour and a half, and that was how I made the most progress. But also, if you leave it off overnight, it becomes much harder to get off the next day.
The trick is do not add water to it first. Always put your oil-based soap or oil, if you're using coconut oil, on before you get it wet, because it naturally repels water. So you put water and then all of a sudden you got this water barrier. So.
Why am I just hearing about this for the first time?
I'm pretty sure I told you not to just hop in the shower. But
I do what I want.
Yeah, you do. You live and learn. It's not toxic. It's just,
It's not that I worry about it being toxic. It's that at some point I have to go back to work.
Yes.
Usually I'm scare acting on a Saturday night.
Maybe that'll keep
Monday
you out of the
before.
office. You show up looking like Twinkle Coldstone.
I'm feeling very ill.
Tim doesn't have to come back to the office.
One of my eyes is still pale ghostly white because I didn't take a contact yet.
Yeah, so a lot of the actors go to work looking pretty suspicious after a weekend of acting.
It's always fun to
go to
Rudders afterwards.
Yeah.
I know they're so used to it.
Those employees have seen it all.
Yep.
Like, there is nothing you can do at Rudders that they will not be on some level prepared for. I'm not encouraging chaos, but I am saying, like, those are some steel-souled people.
Yep.
Ken was once in the men's bathroom there, and he was full zombie makeup, and a little boy opened the door, and Ken was washing his hands in front of the mirror, and he looked into the mirror and he saw a boy standing there like frozen, like with the bathroom door open, like looking at him, and he turned around and just ran out. Like, he was like, nope.
I want to say, you all as scare actors, or across the entire industry, like, for the most part, scare actors are like big old teddy bears underneath.
Yes.
Like, once you get close and get to know all of them, I remember a story that was told to me about a certain actor you may know very well, who was scaring a kid in a maze, saw the kid was struggling and terrified, and turned it off immediately and helped the kid up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, seriously, the haunt community is filled with some of the best people you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think after, I can't remember if it was Field that we went to like a McDonald's or something afterwards, and I still had makeup on, and I was just like,
I was really wanting some reaction from the
Yeah.
McDonald's employee, but I think we were too close to the haunt at that point. I'm sure we weren't the first to do that.
probably. Oh well.
I think fast food workers as a whole are becoming more difficult to surprise.
I mean, we also went to Wendy's like in our full wedding outfits,
Yeah.
and they were not surprised at all. And I
No.
was like,
They didn't even say congratulations. So we're never going to Wendy's again.
no, that's not true.
We got pulled over by a cop once in the summertime because we bought a car from PA, but we live in Delaware, so we don't have to have the stickers on the windshield here in Delaware, but it had the old stickers. So a cop pulled us over after leaving Field of Screams in the summertime during one of our practices. And I had done wounds all over Ken's face and his knuckles, and Sapphire was in the back with a big wound on her head, blood like dripping down. The cop pulled us over, and the guy, I don't know if he was new, but he didn't say nothing about the makeup, and he was just like shaking and just like basically just let us go. Like he was, we're just like, that was weird.
You didn't roll down the window and say, start something.
Well, he brought up the stickers. He said that was the problem, but like he just wanted to get out of there. It was hilarious. We're like, you're not even going to ask any questions. We're just all covered in blood, but okay.
He's like, I did my duty. I don't want to end up looking like
He seemed really nervous. I think he was new. But
seems like everything's in order here.
Yep.
What seems to be the officer problem? All right, so here's another one from us regarding something that you mentioned before about like having a little bit of an adventure with every different actor that comes.
New
into
canvas.
Yes.
Yep.
How do we come up with new and unique character designs each season? This is actually something someone else asked earlier on too, so I'm glad we figured on this one being a question for you.
I mean, honestly, I don't typically know until an actor sits in my chair, but it's heavily influenced by our new sets. If we have a new set put in and we're like, oh, we can try something new. We do have a few midway actors and stuff that like they have like a character that they do a lot, but say it's really just on the fly. They sit in our chair and we're just like, okay, I'll have the tendency to ask some of the actors, like, is there like a look that you would prefer to have? Like, you know, when it comes to clowns, I'm like, do you like the sad clown or do you like the evil, like scary clown and stuff like that? And then I'll just go from there. But facial structure of an actor, you can look at somebody's face and you're like, oh, they've got great cheekbones, I could really make them protrude, and you know. And then you also have your actors that you know are willing to let you do gross things to them, like glue like real dead bugs on their face and stuff like that. And you're like, I'm going to take advantage of that. But yeah. And then of course, we've got a great effects team, and we're all very close. We're like a little miniature family, and we bounce a lot of ideas off of each other all the time. And you know, if one effects artist did something that was really cool, like we might like be like, okay, I'm gonna try that but put my spin on it and stuff. So it's just constantly evolving. It's just free flowing.
And Ken actually just asked the question or made a comment that I was going to follow up with. Some of my favorite things about the off-season events are the unique themed touches that you guys bring into the makeup, you know, the cookie cutter burns and
yeah,
like sweet icing, like frosty eyelashes. You know, there was a lot of green and shamrocks and things like that.
Yes.
Do those just come? Is there any? I guess sometimes you say you bring new props. Do those like come to you beforehand? Do you have an idea you're trying to run with, or is it just like, you know what?
Yeah, sometimes you'll get an idea and you're like, okay, I'm gonna do that. I would say last year for me, I used to come with more ideas prepared. But I used to be able to practice them at home. Since Sapphire and Echo and Ken all joined the effects team, I don't get to practice as much because they're practicing on the people I used to practice on when they come over. So now I'm just kind of winging it, but there's definitely things that when it comes to the holiday events, it's more planned. But yeah.
It sounds suspiciously like when I go for my haircut and I sit down in the chair and my stylist says, "What are we doing today?" Like it's weirdly familiar, the process you're describing. But then of course she doesn't turn me into a clown. She does the same haircut that I get every time I go in for a haircut.
Right. No, it was I definitely tried to plan things out my first year. Because I was nervous and I was like, I need to like have some type of idea, like because you're on a time crunch and you don't have like all this time, and like the longer you take on an actor, the more pressure you're putting on your fellow makeup artists, because then they gotta pick up your slack.
Right.
So I used to plan things out my first year because I didn't want to do that. This year, I think last year I went through and I counted how many different actors' makeup I did. And it was well over 100 different people. Not like, and I've done a lot of their makeup over, and that was only 1 year of doing makeup. So now it's just done it so many times that it's more like a second thought. Clowns are more challenging, but when it comes to the basic contour and the gore and stuff.
Do you feel like you're like, all right, I've seen Billy 5 times, I could do your contour without even looking?
Yes. Yep. There's certain people you learn their faces, and it's super simple to do their makeup, and you get them done really fast.
Are you finding that when you're away from field, you're thinking about, because again, you see certain people like over and over and over again. Do you think like, I think this time I'm gonna do Zane as like a Two-Face kind of like do you the process ahead of time, or
a lot of times there are people that I'm like, I hope I get them because I would love to do this or that. A lot of the people that I like come up with, when I do come up with designs, it's a lot of, I call them my kids. They're my Delaware kids, you know, that like my house is their house. They come here, they hang out, and you know, I'll come up with what looks with them a lot because I see them when I'm not at field, and we can go back and forth and discuss things. But there's people like Mr. Green. There's been clown looks that I'm like, I really want to try that on Mr. Green. But yeah, there's certain people for sure.
And you get to know a face.
Yeah.
I figure, you have a little bit more of a, I mean, I'm not in makeup, so I can't really put myself in your shoes, but I, as OCD and retentive as I am of certain people, and like, I mean, I remember doing Twinkle Coldstone at Laurel's House of Horror the first time, and then over the whole next year that followed, because I knew I was going back, because I kept getting messages saying, you have to come back, we need you back, so on and so forth. I started thinking, like, what could I do this year that, because they picked my whole outfit for me last time, like, how could I support this ongoing narrative? How can I be like a real scare actor and like give myself a backstory and whatnot? And I wound up with something that like honestly totally didn't work. And so now it's a completely different character in the Twinkleverse, which is fine.
But
like, I love Twinkle Coldstone.
There's Twinkle Coldstone, there's other Twinkles.
Well, then there's me. The 2 times I've scare acted, I've just stepped into someone else's like costume character.
That was Kylie's dress at field, but Irene was your own character.
I suppose, yes. But yeah, I guess because I haven't like consistently played the same character over and over again, I don't have like a particular attachment to any.
I mean, I thought I was playing the consistent character over and over again, but I kind of at the end, by the end of the second night, I was like, this.
Well, this
is not quite in keeping with
thing.
Twinkle's mythos.
Twinkle Coldstone was a Christmas character. He dressed basically as a Christmas elf the first year, and Tim starts bringing in pieces from the internet.
Then Twinkle took a dark turn,
and I'm like, what about any of this is Christmas?
It started. All right, here was the story. Right, this is what Twinkle's intended backstory was for the last Christmas event, and you'll see why it doesn't work. My thought was that Krampus got so fed up with Twinkle's antics that he put him in like the North Pole gulag, and he spent like a whole year in the gulag just going crazier and crazier and beating his head against the wall until finally he came back and he was just like the darkest version of himself and like total anarchy.
I have to keep it family friendly, but yeah, Ken's got the gist of it. You can't put that on,
but yeah, I mean we took it in a different direction, and then I got my makeup done by the lovely Autumn, who is actually visiting from Penhurst, and she did a fantastic job. It was drastically different from the makeup that I got done as Twinkle Goldstone, and I think it fit the outfit I had.
But that's the thing is, she was working off what you were wearing.
Yes.
Then.
Yes, and that's when I realized. That's when I realized that I was like, all right, this character is not going to be consistent. My story I thought was great. It just didn't work for the whole of Twinkle Goldstone. So now we have
you had me cracking up.
Yeah, that
was hilarious. I'm so happy we went to Laurel's that night.
That was so fun to see you guys come through, though. And I didn't know you guys were coming until you were basically in the maze. So.
I was like just waiting for you guys to be done with I knew you were in the Beetlejuice escape room, and I was like, oh, I can't wait for them to come out.
Yes.
Did you guys beat the Beetlejuice escape room?
They did.
I'm stupid.
I know.
I mean, we shouldn't have. Let's just say Beetlejuice was very kind.
Beetlejuice helped us all the way through when we still didn't break out.
Yeah, we still ran out of time.
I mean, he can't do everything for you. He was literally like, what's the letter after?
Yeah.
I'm terrible under pressure. Like, escape rooms, I love being in them. I love, like, the immersive, just the challenge of it. But when I know the clock is ticking, my brain just, I can't focus.
But, I mean, to that end, is doing makeup very, very quickly, rushing people through, is that not equally as stressful, or is that actually like home base for you now?
Oh, I get stressed. When I'm doing makeup, I get stressed. This past year was a lot better. My first year, though, I was having panic attacks while I was doing makeup. There was a couple times I got like dizzy and I had to like stop and like hold on to the counter. I'm like, breathe. But now I know everybody. Well, not everybody. We got new people coming in all the time, but the people the regulars, they're family now, and then we have people like, Chris. He's in a bunch of Sapphire's vlogs. He comes back, he messes with me all the time when I'm trying to do makeup, and he just it's the actors that come back and make you laugh and stuff. They're like, they break you out of that like a serious zone, and I'm like, that's right, this is fun, so take a moment, get yourself together, laugh, so
I mean, it's work. It's by no stretch of the imagination is this an easy job. Which is why I'm so impressed by what you've been able to do.
This is a stupid question, but does your arm get tired? Because mine would get tired.
Yes. Not terribly tired, but I definitely my hand will go numb after a while when I've been, this last event I took 4 actors in one sitting, so I was like going around because we were so busy for St. Patrick's Day, and it can get tired, but
I mean, we obviously have been on the backside of various haunts to see how it all comes together, but I do want to think too of the people who may be watching, because we've got people who are subscribed to us for travel content, for resort content, who are just kind of dipping their toe into the haunt scene because we post so much of it. And for those people, when you talk about painting someone's face, you're not taking your finger and dabbing it lightly or using a standard brush. Like, you guys are using the airbrushes, right?
We use airbrushes, airbrush predominantly. Like, we're airbrushing everybody, but then we go in with brushwork for specific looks, and even sponges. But mostly airbrush.
Airbrush is what covers the most of the surface area.
It's fastest.
Yes. And it saves your arm, to Katie's point of, like, if you were actually
also just like, if your first layer or so of makeup is basically like your foundation or whatever, and you want the foundation to go on evenly. I know a little bit about makeup. I know like theory. It's just when you go to execute it that I'm like, but yeah, even like, when Mandy was doing my makeup at Valentine's, like she was going in with the brush to do like specific details and stuff. Also, she had to use a brush.
Brushes are for.
She was also complaining because there was something wrong with her gun. It was not firing right. So she's like, gotta get in there and use more brush. It's gonna take forever.
Yeah.
15 minutes.
Yeah, there's definitely complications. Your paint, you let your paint dry in your gun while you were working on something else, and then now it's clogged and it's spitting. You don't want it to spit. Or, you accidentally bent your needle a little bit and now it's, that's always fun.
Like, who's got an extra?
Well, I was going to say, I think that's where it
compressor.
comes in. That's where your support circle comes in, because everyone in that room is tossing things back and forth, trying to help each other move faster. So I do want to show off some of our favorite looks that you put together in the last couple of years.
Do you have any comments or
thoughts
or whatnot?
By no means is
love
this.
these. Hey, take the live off. Get it off her face.
It's on me. I'm doing my best.
I don't know how long we've been doing this. I guess dolls is only the dolls and the dollhouse has only been
I started noticing the cracks during the Valentine's Day event, and I saw them again at St. Patty's Day. And I don't know if you've been doing them longer than that, or if it's just been a dedicated effort.
The like porcelain cracking is just such a cool look.
Thank you. No, I started doing the cracks my first year. Kylie had seen me practice at home. She saw one of the looks that I had practiced at home, and she was like, I really love the way that you do doll makeup. I want you to do doll makeup like that here. And so this is, every artist seems to do dolls different. This is like what I go towards. This is like my signature doll look. So if dolls sit in my chair, this is typically like the look that I do for dolls. But
wow, it's so cool.
I'm so glad we get so many crystal dolls out there, because
I know
this is my favorite.
I didn't know that this was like your calling card for dolls, so that's cool.
There were, when we came out of, and I think this was in our video from Valentine's Day too, but if it wasn't, it should have been. When we came out of the Den of Darkness and we were standing around talking about like, that was cool what we just did, the big thing that still stood out in my mind from going through was the dolls. And I was just like, that was some of the coolest makeup we've seen from Field, like in recent memory. Not to say that none of the other artists are talented, they all are, but like the fact that I didn't even know I was complimenting you when I said that.
Thank you.
The immersion is something that I think Field does really, really well. And I think makeup is a huge part of selling that.
And also just like the uniqueness of how different the dolls look from the clowns, from a patient. Like it's very clear that they belong in that area. Yeah.
Yes.
Two Valentines, one Christmas, right?
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's a good example of, like, earlier you were asking me like how I bring a character to life. So for example, the very first photo on the left, that's Ray. She's Mateo's girlfriend. You guys know Mateo.
You know Ray too.
Okay. Yes, you do.
Don't forget to see you in the comments, Ray. We love you.
So Ray's like one of my children. I love her to death. But she made her costume. And she showed up in Field in that costume, and we were like, okay, we're going Cupid. Like, what does an evil Cupid look like? So that was how that character came into play, because she showed up with a costume that, Field doesn't have. So it was like, we just rolled with it. And I love the way it came out. She ended up looking so gorgeous in a gory way.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yes.
Emphasis on the gore.
Yes.
And it's hard to see, but you, because her head is just turned, but you can see the little Valentine's Day heart on the, I guess, mirrored. It's the left cheek, but it's a right cheek. So nice little touch there. I really like the way. I don't know if it's meant to look like tears or, like
it's
rain or whatnot, but the movement on the face is really good.
Thank
and you
you.
still have that contouring. I don't know, the forehead is so like veiny. It's so cool.
Thank you.
What was was that a 20-minute squat and get it done?
That was probably like 30 minutes, but it wasn't too bad. I've done Ray's makeup a lot, and she's got one of those faces that you love to do for contouring. She's got great facial structure, like you know exactly where you're putting her contour when you are doing her face. So, and then another thing in the middle, that's Nat.
I was gonna say, I'm getting better at recognizing people in costume now.
Yep, she's awesome. And she went from, so she was going to be put in the clown room, but it was a Christmas event. And so with the off-season events, you can sometimes switch up the characters a little bit. So typically I would do just the clown. But she had an elf costume. So we were like, okay, so elfie clown. Her personality is just so like, she's just funny. She's comical and just like, she's like a hyper sapphire, like a little like just like running around, just like a little like cute creature, like little goblin. And so her makeup look was inspired by her personality, and we put the elf ears on her, like the pointy elf ears, and like she ended up she played that character so well throughout the night. Like she just sold the makeup. So yeah.
And I actually want to point out too that all three of these girls have piercings.
Yes.
For Nat in particular, you incorporated the piercing into her look, which I was going to ask if that was more common than just asking people to like try to like tuck them in or whatever, but I think it looks amazing the way that they've all been incorporated here.
Yeah, I mean, so many people at Field have piercings that it's just like, we just roll with it.
And for this look, you can kind of see the like snowflake on the side of her cheek and the little like snow, which is just, you know, so festive. And what I really liked about this look was also like the kind of cartoony anime lips with your little like light accents. I think that is just like, that's so fun and, you know, so unique. And
that was the first night of the Christmas event. The second night we made adjustments and we went bolder. So the second night, like she had snowflakes all underneath her eyes, and like there was more detail. This night was a little bit more rushed. The second night I was like, all right, we're like gonna go with what we did last night but make it better.
And we got the second night when we went because we couldn't make it on the Friday, but we were able to make it on the Saturday. So we saw the final look. But I will say that I think both of them are spectacular.
Excellent.
So.
Thank you.
And then, of course, we know all about Saf's makeup and costume from the Valentine's event.
Yep. My beautiful daughter.
The gorgeous, like big, bold eyes. I mean, the blackout context do help with that look as well. But you know, the contouring with like the kind of like spidering veins on the side, and just that cute little lip is just, it's so perfect. I love it. And
Sapphire has a face that you can, I don't know her, she hates that I say this, but she's got chubby cheeks. And like, so there's certain looks that just work with Sapphire's face, and the little heart lips just they work with her cheeks, and
she's got big beautiful eyes too, so they can be they're a nice centerpiece
And
as well.
interestingly, when we came on the first night of Valentine's, she didn't have the black contacts, but she had they were either white or blue. I can't remember. Or no, they were the ones that had they
The
were like,
X's.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were the creepy pseudo-reptilian ones.
Yeah, the first night of the Valentine's event we were so backed up in makeup. I'm usually one of the last makeup artists doing makeup. So by the time I got to Sapphire, she only had like a half hour to act. So her makeup the first night when you guys saw her was a lot less detailed than the second night.
Yeah, I thought
we had to rush through it, but thank you.
Undermining your own work won't work here.
Thanks.
So I'm gonna throw in another question from our bank here, because we've answered a lot of them, but also there are some that we haven't. So with regard to going a little more detailed, we talked a little bit about how we've transitioned to silicone and whatnot, as opposed to traditional prosthetics that were made in-house, pre-made prosthetics. And we can talk about that too, because I guess those are more common now than the prosthetics that used to be used. But how does that process compare to what we've gone over thus far with just using the basic paint and then with the air gun? What is airbrush?
Airbrush.
Getting every word I've ever known, and I don't know why. I'm just having an evening. Bear with me. But you get what I'm saying. Like as compared to the standard airbrush work followed by like paintbrush details, which I think is more common, how often do we use prosthetics or silicone to add cuts or additional features? And what does that look like as part of the process?
So, my first year I used several prosthetics that Kylie was making. Like I said, this year we started focusing more on silicone. Hold on, let me gather my thoughts.
It didn't help me as much as I hoped it would, but you took your best shot.
Words are hard.
Words are hard on Tuesdays.
The prosthetics we used to use, all we had to do was add alcohol to the back of them, and it would start melting the prosthetic, and then we would apply it to the skin. And then we would take alcohol and Q-tips, and we would try to melt the prosthetic to be flush with the skin. Okay. A lot of the times we just couldn't get the edges as seamless as you would want. With the silicone, it's way easier to blend in with the skin. However, the silicone is also tricky in that when you put it on the skin, you have a certain amount of time, and it's not much time before it hardens on you. But it also, depending on the temperature in the room and the temperature of the actor, if the actor's real hot, it'll start melting before it dries. So it'll start sliding down the face, and so you're like picking it up, and you're, keep reshaping the same thing until it hardens. But yeah, if we're doing silicone, we put the silicone on first. That's the first step. And then we will go over airbrush over that. And then we'll go in with our brush work, do the fine details within the wound. Add pus if we're going to add pus. I like to, one of the things I love to do is glue dead bugs onto people's faces. Not everybody wants that, but I'm always like, well, if I glue it onto the silicone, it's not actually touching your skin. So I get my way sometimes.
Bugs, right? They're not.
They've seen like the mealworms and stuff.
Well, I've seen a lot of live bugs rolling around.
I feel the screws.
Yeah, I don't think
Kylie's been out there with the live cockroaches.
Yeah.
But
it's just sticking a
I use. I'm a vegetarian. I can't.
I was gonna say. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's against every. It's okay if it's already dead and she didn't kill it. It's fine.
May also be a health code violation. So.
Yeah, I use
won't picture that
mealworms found in it's sold as chicken food, so that's where I get my mealworms from. They're already dead and dried out.
There's nothing you can do to save them.
Nope.
Right.
Does the silicone have to dry totally before it can be painted over, or can it be painted or airbrushed over?
You want it to dry. It'll be a little bit sticky. You have to powder it.
Okay.
If you want it to be shiny after you paint it, you won't powder it. So like, say like you want like the skin on the outside to look like skin, you're gonna powder that, but leave the inside unpowdered so that when you put your paint on it, it's got that wet.
Yeah. Fresh wound.
Yeah.
How often are we using silicone on, because I know it can't be every actor or you'll never get anything done. But...
No. So we aim to focus on actors that are going to be in well-lit areas,
Right.
playing important roles, like in lobotomy. When you walk into the asylum, they're seen. They're, actors that are going to make good use of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ken does a lot of silicone work.
I was gonna say, I feel like his portfolio has a lot of the.
Yeah, he does a lot of silicone work. I love working with silicone, but because I tend to do more clowns and dolls, I don't get to do it as much. But when I do get the opportunity, I'm on it.
You have the discretion over when you're like, can you look at an actor, find out where the actor's going to be placed, and then be like, I think I'm going to do silicone on this one.
Yeah.
Or, okay. So you have creative control.
Yeah. So in the past, in the summertime, when we've done our effects classes, we didn't do it this last summer, or at least I didn't make the class that did, if it was. But Kylie, my first summer there, Kylie took us through each of the houses and was like, okay, here's this room and this is what the lighting looks like, and this is the type of look that you would want to give an actor in this room. And it was really helpful to go through all the houses, see the sets, and then you learn that. This past year, Taylor and Kylie put together, we call it a look book. So if you aren't sure of what an actor is really going to be submerged in, you go through that book and there's photo examples of what's appropriate for that scene.
Perfect transition. Couldn't have planned it better myself. So this, and that's not again in the photo on the left as well, but there's quite a few different looks in this 4-person panel here.
Yes.
3-person technically.
Yes.
One is blacklight.
Yep. One is
the blacklight
the
version.
effects.
Yes. So the first girl on the left, that is Lexi. She's another one of my kids. I love her to death. That is again a look that was inspired by her showing up with a green wig and a like Mrs. Claus dress. We just full sent it, and yep. And then we've got Natalie with her, and then the look with Ken. Okay, so Ken's got silicone on his face. So that look doesn't look all that great in regular lighting.
I think it does.
Do you?
Yeah.
I still think it's good.
Yeah,
I think what it is
on his forehead.
I don't like orange and green together. It just, those colors bother me. But
that's why
you look
it works,
so toxic.
is because it's
Right.
so unpleasant.
Right. So that was a rushed. It was Hayride, and he was acting in Toxic, so it needed to be blacklight responsive. And just real quick, after a night of doing makeup, we were the only ones left up in the effects room, and we were like, you know what, like, let's go hop out on Hayride for a bit. Ken and I, when we do act, we love to act Toxic on Hayride. and he wanted to try something so he didn't have to wear a mask that night. And yeah, we just tried something new. Gave him some holes, some blacklight reactive paint, and it's easier to act without masks.
Yeah. Definitely.
When you're working on Hayride, because a lot of actors do it with no problem, but
you can see better, I'm sure.
yeah, you can see a lot better. And in Toxic, the Hayride never stops moving, so you're running out and you're hopping onto a moving wagon to attack the people, and you're hopping off. So it's nice to not have to wear a mask if you can pull off a look that works with makeup.
There's a bit of creative flexibility for the actors in that section, I know.
Yeah.
Get to throw stuff. Make
It's
loud noises.
It's
Yes.
a fun time. It's
Yeah,
fun.
no, I love that set. It's a lot of fun.
I think it looks great. I really like the peeling skin.
Yeah.
Total hole.
Yeah.
It's almost like it just flaked right off.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, well, the idea was like, okay, how can we make melting skin? They were supposed to be people that were just submerged in chemical.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Definitely.
Or left behind in the radiation wasteland.
Yeah.
Fun fact that a lot of horror people know. I don't know if you do or not. If you don't, I'm going to tell you. The Nightmare on Elm Street, the original concept for Freddy Krueger, the reason they chose the red and green is not because they were like, Christmas, ah ha ha. It was because for some reason that particular hex code of green and that particular hex code of red were computed to be some of the most visually displeasing combinations
Okay.
in the color matrix. Like when they looked it up and they were just doing tests and whatnot, they were like, swatch, this is gross, let's make his sweater that. So I think the green and the orange on Ken's face are have a similar effect of ooh, I don't like it, and therefore I love it. It's perfect for a toxic
Something
waste.
not right.
I saw Alyssa just commented, I love acting with you too. She's another makeup artist at Field.
We have so many Field family supporters, and we love it. I have one clown that I pulled out of a lineup too.
Oh, this is a good one.
Yeah, I tried to pick a good one.
I mean, they're all good. I just know this one. This is definitely one of those. Oh,
yeah. To be clear, I didn't go oh bad.
We're going
No, this
for
one will work. No,
sad
they're
clown
all good.
look.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, and so clowns it's interesting because I do primarily clowns, but clowns are also the hardest thing for me to do personally. They don't come naturally. They take a lot of effort for me. There's just so much you can do with clown looks. A lot of people go with evil clowns with very sharp lines that are bloody or gooey and really aggressive in their expressions. But then there's also people that are just terrified of the more just sad cartoony clowns. That's what some people find terrifying. So there's a lot to work with there. And what comes naturally to me is this look here, the very cartoony. That's easier for me to pull off for some reason than the aggressive. But it's funny because I like the aggressive looking clowns better. But I'm not a natural at creating them. I have the tendency to go towards this type of clown look more often. But I'm getting better. I'm practicing. Taylor, are one of our head FX artists. I call her the clown queen. Everybody knows that she does the best clowns around. She's amazing. And I've had to go to her several times. I need you to show me how to pull off these clown looks faster and to make them more aggressive looking, because she's great. She pulls off all these clown looks so fast, and they're just really mean looking. I'm getting better, but yeah, I do really like this look. I think it's really cool.
It's great.
And
So-
the actors all come in costume to you, right?
Yes.
So you can definitely see where you were inspired by how colorful the costume was.
Uh-huh.
And,
Clown bib,
and really matched
Mm-hmm.
what's going on with and drew it completely into the face, which is
Yeah,
perfect.
sometimes it can be challenging when people come up with everybody comes up with their costumes, but sometimes it can be challenging to like color match, to make like the colors in the makeup that we have, because we don't have like a whole bunch of different
Mhm.
colors.
Mhm.
We have a very limited amount to make life more simple.
But you can
So-
blend them.
Yeah, so it's always a challenge, and it's fun, but it's a challenge when you're trying to work fast and you're like, I don't know, I feel like it needs this and that, and then before you know it, you're like, I've been spending way too much time on this actor, like I need to get it together and get this actor out the door. But no, it's fun. And another thing is there's multiple different clown looks. So you have the clowns that live up in an asylum, up in the
Right.
attic,
Right.
up in the asylum. They're supposed to be more of the old, dingy, old school type clowns, the hobo clowns, sad and dirty and that style. And then the hayride clowns, we really have like freedom to go wild and neon colors and all that. So
Tim Curry Pennywise of Frightmare, modern Pennywise on Hayride.
I was thinking like
Yes.
Ronald McDonald versus Pennywise, but yeah.
I mean, if you want
Yeah.
to go super deep cut, you can also go Brave Little Toaster, which is my
Oh,
nightmare
that is a
clown of the
terrifying-
past.
I can't leave this example of your art behind without pointing out how adorable the button nose is and how much it also reminds me of Coraline. So
okay, yep, I can see that.
yeah, I mean, way more sinister on the eyeballs, but I think it's just super cute. I really like, again, with this, the way you use the white to make really make it look more cartoony and pop out, kind of three-dimensional almost. So very cool.
Thank you.
So you have mentioned a couple of times how clowns and colors present a unique challenge, which led me to throw this one at you from our list, which is, what are some of the biggest challenges about what you do? Apart from those that we've already mentioned,
Any more big
any
challenges?
greater challenges, or if there is a biggest challenge, what do you think?
Okay, so obviously, timing is a challenge for me. Another challenge for me is a lot of actors don't realize that we have a tier system, that we can't. So, like, I'm not supposed to take actors that our other makeup artists are fully capable of working on. If a few of us are supposed to do the clowns and dolls and the more like intricate looks first. So I hate it when I go over to the wall where all the actors are and everybody's been like tired. They're standing there. They're like, I needed my makeup done. And I have to pull somebody that's in the back of the line to come to me. And I just feel bad because they're like, why is the person at the back of the line getting their makeup done before me? And I've been standing here forever,
As a
also,
people pleaser, that
Yeah,
sounds like hell.
that does sound. Yep.
Yeah,
I
it is.
understand.
And then I get a lot of people reach out to me privately and ask me if I can do their makeup for upcoming events and stuff like that. And a lot of times I have to turn people away because I'm like, I can only do so many people. And so yes, as a people pleaser, I always feel bad when I have to turn actors away that want me to do their makeup. But I would say that's a challenging thing. The timing.
I feel like we just forced you to
Just
relive
telling-
some of your worst
I
memories.
know, it's like-
No,
Just look into
it's
the-
good.
Oh,
It's
it's about
good.
the trauma.
I mean, I'm okay. I just don't want, other people to feel like I'm favoriting other people over them and stuff. And like, I was on that other end. Like, I remember my first year when I was just doing hayride, and I'd come up there and just want my eyes blacked out because I was wearing mask.
Yeah.
And you're like, why can't I just get my eyes blacked out? Like, I've been standing up here forever. And you would watch the makeup artist pull what looked like they were just picking their friends. Now, as a makeup artist, I realized there's an order. There's, people that need to get out there before other people and stuff. So, but because we're so large and there's so many new people at Field all the time, like, people just don't know. And you're like, I promise I'm not turning you away.
No, and that I think comes with time. They get to understand the process, and it is a factory. It is a factory of fear. It's creative, it's fun, but it's also work. So there has to be some order, or everything falls apart. Which I totally get.
Yeah.
I'm speaking from experience there.
Yes. Yep.
And for the record, I think it's the same at a lot of hunts where I remember being backstage at Red Vein, at Laurel's, at Fright Farm. Like, there will be a line forming, but the line will not always go in linear order because certain people have to be placed. Certain places have icons that have to get done first or require more time and have to get done last. Like, it varies so much from haunt to haunt, but there's always a method to the madness.
And then it gets to crunch time. It's like, oh, you're in eye black and a mask.
You do the best you can at crunch time.
Yeah. That's always the worst. So I'm one of the last makeup artists to leave because I'll take the stragglers because a lot of the other makeup artists go and act after they're done makeup. And I typically don't act. I acted a few times this last season afterwards, but there'll be that person up there that it'd just be easy to just be like, okay, the last 3 of you go get masks, like, call it. But I'm like, no, okay, like, come on. Like, I'll do your makeup. But
you've got too big of a heart, Crystal.
Which, another perfect transition, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
We're gonna flip it on its head and focus on the positives now.
Yeah, what do you love to do? Or what do you love most about what you do? I can't read.
So there's a lot to that. I love the creativity. I absolutely love being surrounded by the people that the haunt industry tends to gather.
Yeah.
The creative minds in the industry are just amazing, like, from everything from set design to makeup to costume design to lighting to soundtracks. Like, the people are just so artistic and like passionate about it. I grew up hearing a lot that I was like living in La La Land because I've always been somebody, like, you see the room that I'm in. I've been doing stuff like this, like going over the top with things my whole life. My parties and stuff that I've always thrown have been themed, and decorating for holidays have always been like extreme. And people are kind of like, you're a perfectionist and, da 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 da. I love being surrounded by people like me. Like, so it's been awesome because I finally found my people. I finally found people that get what it is to be an adult and still want to live like a child.
Yes. My goodness.
And yes.
It's me.
Yes, and just to create these like immersive worlds, it's amazing. And I have so much respect for the people. And Gene and Jim, what they've created at Field of Screams is just amazing. And it's really cool. I love seeing every time they add a new set. It's just like, I don't know, I just love it. And then to steer off that, just the people, the actors that come into Field of Screams, so many people from so many different backgrounds with as you guys know, I have an anxiety disorder and I'm very socially awkward, and the industry seems to have a lot of people with anxiety disorders and different special needs and stuff like that. And it's a place where everybody can be accepted for exactly who they are. If there's something weird about you, that's celebrated in this field. You know what I mean? Like if you got something that's different than the average person, like in some way, shape, or form, it'll be used as your superpower in the industry. So I love it. I love meeting so many people from different walks of life and the creativity. It's awesome. I love this industry so much.
I will second every single thing you said.
Yeah.
We often have imposter syndrome about being haunters, quote unquote, because we're not just haunters, we do other stuff. And our channel didn't always revolve around haunts to the extent that it currently does. It's still, I mean, we still do a lot of travel and resorts and other content. We're doing a lot this
But you
year.
came into the world and your guys are getting sucked in.
No, we're
but
so
like,
suckers. We are suckers.
We absolutely, we've always loved, and I think it always starts on some level with a love for Halloween, right?
Yeah.
Like we all love like watching a spooky movie, be it something a little more chill and down to earth like Coraline, or be it like, you know, classic like Michael Myers slashing. But like it all starts with an appreciation for the spooky time of year. And then the more you learn about the haunt industry and what it entails, the more you find out that like there's so much talent and there's so much creativity. And so like as you said, the world building that goes into each and every haunt, for the most part, it's unlike anything. Well, it's not unlike anything. It's exactly like a theme park. When you go to like Disney World and you're completely surrounded by like, you can't see the parking lot, you can't see your problems, you can't see beyond this wall. So therefore what exists is in this bubble.
It's fantasy.
And the horror theme of haunts is exactly the same way. It's consistent. It isolates you from the rest of the world. And like for right now, you're living in this. And it's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And we're just
and it's so funny too, because like I think a lot of people that aren't familiar with the haunt industry, and this is going by like the people I grew up around and stuff, may think that the people in the industry are like these dark, like evil people that are obsessed with, you know, like and you know, they're picturing the haunt actors all standing around like not talking to anybody, like, you know, and it's complete opposite. Like the people are just so goofy, so outspoken, and just I don't know. Yeah. It's awesome.
There's always that like dichotomy of like, I just built this like dismembered human body to put on display in the room, and now I'm going to go home to my like 8 dogs in my vegetarian diet, you know, like like I wouldn't actually hurt a fly, you know.
But that's
funny because a lot of
air acting is that you're stepping into someone else's shoes, and the character can be literally violently different from who you are as a
killer.
Person.
Right. And it's so funny because I think like a lot of us, I think most people in this haunt industry are kind of like removed from the actual gore of it. Like we know what needs to like be presented, but like we're not feeling these evil things, you know what I mean?
Not.
Like it's I don't know. It's just so much different than I think a lot of people realize. It's the amount of love in the industry you wouldn't think would be in that type of thing, but it really is.
There's a lot of parallels.
It's way more than just making gory props and stuff too. I mean, there's the you know, we've talked a lot about the new, you know, study in Dennett Field, which will be making its official debut, I guess, in the season, but it's getting,
I think, actually halfway
to Halloween. It might
actually
be done. Well, and there's, you know, a bunch of fake looking bookshelves, and not fake looking, real looking bookshelves that are not real. You know, there's a stained glass ceiling, like all that, like that's all part of it too. And there's nothing really in that scene right now that's all that. I mean, there are those like, I guess there's like some props in there that are a little bit more spooky gory, but like there's plenty of stuff that's not gory at all. Like all over Hayride, like the kind of sets that are built there between Toxic and the cryo and things, like some of it's just really cool builds and sets and props. So there is gore and blood and guts can certainly be spooky and eye-catching as well, but some of our favorite things are just the immersion and escaping to another world, just like being in a theme park.
There's a lot of overlap. We've said this before to others in our community, because there's a lot of overlap between the theme parkers and the haunters. And my favorite literally ever quote from anything we've experienced in the haunt industry was when we were walking around Fright Farm with PJ, and we came upon an Expedition Everest recreation. They'd done like a Yeti room for their big sweeping theme that year. And I saw the flags, like literally, like there was a dedicated effort to bring the Expedition Everest theming from Disney's Animal Kingdom direct to this attraction for a single year as a pop-up. And I saw those and I was like, are those Expedition Everest flags? And the response I got was, I've never known a haunter that wasn't also a Disney person. And I was like, hey, yeah, like that makes a lot of sense. There's so much
the theming and
there's
dedication.
A Venn diagram, and it's very, very close to being a circle.
There are, of course, people who don't give a crap about Disney and the haunt industry, and that's totally fine. You do not have to. But there is a lot of overlap too. So I mean, Fright Farm definitely has a bit of, they get inspired by both Disney and I think and Universal Halloween Horror Nights for their haunt.
Every year there's a little.
Because the next year it was very much a Tower of Terror kind of. Which, I mean, come on, everyone's got to love Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, whether you like Disney or not.
Disney, I have a confession. I've never been to Disney or just like anything. So.
We're all going together next
all right, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. I have a couple more questions for you. Two of them came from our comments, but I'm going to lead with this one, which is any good or horribly bad stories about your experiences in the industry, apart from those we've kind of already heard.
Any good or bad stories about experiences in the industry? I mean, pretty much my personal experiences have all been pretty good. Bad stories, I just say guests can be jerks. And as a mother, I mean, granted, both my kids are older now, but my youngest is 18 and Sapphire's 21. So a lot of the young adults still feel like children to me, and there's a lot of them at Field. There have been times where customers have hurt them for no reason other than to be jerks, and so that's always difficult to deal with. Grown men swinging on 15-year-old girls, like to impress their girlfriends and stuff like that. That's not cool.
No.
That is the one type of guest we would not welcome into this world.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you've come to be anything other than impressed, go home.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
You do not need you to prove yourself. Like, just watch the Scary Movie at home. And...
Yep. But I mean, there's a lot of good in the industry. We talked about it before. It got brought up in Sapphire's live. The wedding at Field was just awesome to see that happen. To have two actors get married at Field was really, really cool. There's been memorials for people at Field, both people that have worked at Field and passed away and were well respected at Field, and also customers that have come through that loved Field from a customer perspective, and their family celebrated their memory at Field. And that might sound dark, but it's beautiful, you know, like it's, you know,
it showcases how much of a family y'all are.
I don't think
which
it's
I
dark.
think
I think it is
definitely
pretty.
beautiful.
I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It
So-
shows that, you know, that kind of, that, you know, why can't a place like that have as much impact on someone as anywhere else, you know?
Yeah.
I would say that the closest friends I have from the first half of my life all came from high school. And the closest friends that I have from the second half of my life all came from the haunt industry.
Yes. Yep.
So in a sense, not a lot has changed in how I make my friends and forge relationships, but in another sense, quite a bit has. So
There's good people.
There's
good people
There's
there.
good people. So I'm gonna restructure a statement into a question here, because earlier we had this comment in from Kayla, who's always super excited about the haunt content, and she said she was thinking of doing makeup but she's not ready yet, which plays directly into a question we had written down as something we wanted to ask you. What advice do you give to someone who is interested in going into effects or makeup as a first timer?
I highly recommend it. For one, if you're interested in it, you should definitely try it. You don't have to buy an airbrush and do and all that to just practice monster makeup. You can use cheap stuff to start out with. YouTube is a great place to go and learn how to do different things. So Kayla, I adore Kayla. She's super supportive and sweet. And Kayla, I highly recommend that you get yourself some cheap makeup and watch a YouTube video and try it out. And if it's something that you like to do, then just reach out to your local haunt and see if they're a haunt that is willing to teach you how to do more. I mean, Field of Screams, I love that they taught me everything that I know, you know, and I think it's pretty awesome. I learned Taylor and Kylie are amazing, and yeah, they taught me everything that I know, everything that I'm doing right now, FX wise. They were willing to show me the way. So there might be, I know Kayla's up in Canada. You know, I know Kayla's acted, so she might have connections. Maybe an FX artist will be willing to help her.
It all gets grandfathered in a sense. Someone always has to pass the torch to the next makeup artist. So there's no reason that any of you out there couldn't be the next makeup artist if you're willing to learn and invest the time.
And with saying that, like, it's, so I've always been into, you know, I used to do hair and I used to do like regular crazy makeup. But I've also seen people come into effects, join effects that are young and haven't really played with those things. And it's really cool to see everybody on our effects team grow. Like, everybody just keeps getting better and better and better and better. So like, even if you're not like confident when you first start, like just keep going, because the growth I've seen in my own effects team is amazing. You know, it's really, really cool.
And not every, this is coming from the scare acting and character design side of it, which is the only thing I have any experience with, but not every attempt is going to be a winner as you're learning.
Right.
My Twinkle 2.0 didn't turn out quite the way I wanted it to. It was a lot of fun to do. It was.
I think Twinkle 2.0 was very good.
But you know what? Through that, we've opened the Twinkleverse, so there can be other Twinkles now.
I'm still waiting for you guys to come to Field, and Sapphire will do one of your makeup. I'll do the other, and
I want to do that. I want
together.
to do like a makeup daisy chain, and that's the video. Is that like we all go in scene together, but we're like, it's through the family of artists and actors that.
Yep. It would be so much fun.
Do it.
And we see everything from your point of view too, instead of ours, which gets boring.
Yeah.
I love your videos. You guys have great content.
Thank you. We love your makeup too.
Thank you.
One final question from the Peanut Gallery, which came way early on, but we weren't ready for it, narratively speaking. Who's your dream collab with, Crystal?
Dream collab with? You mean FX-wise?
I think you can take it however you want. It could be like an actor that you want to work with, or a makeup artist that you want to learn from,
you want to work
or a
at.
haunt you want to work at. Like,
I don't know. I guess
that's hard. I have. It's really hard. I have so much respect for so many people and so many haunts.
But you can only pick one, and the rest of them die.
No pressure.
Now, Tim. I do want to work with Mandy one day. I've told her that several times. I definitely want to take one of her classes at some point. For a haunt, I was thinking about trying to reach out to a Haunted Overload sometime, because we have a cabin up in New Hampshire, and I was thinking it'd be cool to go up there, and they're volunteer based, so I have a couple connections up there, people that I've got to know a little bit online, and I was thinking that might be a fun place to like go act for a night, or something like that. That'd be fun.
That sound like good choices.
Yeah.
To me.
I'm always so frustrated that the Laurel's House of Horror makeup boot camp, where Mandy and Alejo do some of their best work, always happens around the same time as St. Patrick's Day. So we always wind up missing, and it usually winds up being on the same day. I don't know if it's just coincidence, but I always see hey, we need some actors or some models for these looks and whatnot. And I'm always like, I want to do it, but like also we already have tickets for this thing. So one of these days
we'll be able to clone ourselves and be more than one place.
Or maybe you go to St. Patty's and I go to the makeup, or vice versa.
I guess we could split up.
We could divide and conquer.
Yes.
I don't know.
You'll have
we
to
have our own dream collabs.
You'll have to accept my horrible footage.
Or you could accept my horrible makeup.
I mean, I would have no choice to accept that. I wish I wouldn't be. You have more of an artistic, creative.
The problem is, it's the same
mentality than me.
It's the same problem that I have with filming and editing. I have to use point and shoot stuff. Like the stuff we shoot on is not incredibly technologically advanced. Our footage could look a lot better if I understood more about what I was doing, but I struggle with the technical and the tools. I can do the creative side of things. I have lots of ideas, but I can't execute with my limited understanding of the toolkit.
I just feel like if we were both like learning makeup from scratch and we were given like the same, it would be like one of those like paint and sip kits. Like we're getting the same we're getting the same instruction.
Yeah,
we have the same tools, and here's
just have everyone
like,
come in with like
first try.
Numbers etched into their face.
And here's my like, Pinterest fail, and I don't know. That's how I picture it. And I think it'd be funny.
We were talking about a hangout night. I mean, we've got 2 air compressors at my house. You guys want to learn?
Scaredy Bear and face paint.
There you go.
Yes.
Makeup boot camp, Scaredy Bear boot
And then we'll
camp.
go through McDonald's drive-through and see if we can get any reactions finally.
I'm just going to hold the Scaredy Bear up and see what...
Just
get one of the big ones and put it in the passenger seat.
No, put it in the driver's seat and have some work in the floor pedal.
Well, we'll have Ken in the big Scaredy Bear.
Yeah, in the mascot.
Or in the Krampus suit too would also work.
Yes.
Can he even get into the car with those?
We're gonna
on?
find a way.
I can't imagine.
I don't know.
We'll cut the top off the car if we have to, but it's gonna happen.
We do have a sunroof.
We do have a sunroof.
Could just be sticking out the sun.
Yep. It'll work.
All right. So in summary, Crystal's great at makeup.
And
Everyone
we're-
should go check.
Chaos.
And we love Crystal and her entire family, and it has been great having you on tonight. So thank you so much
for having me. This was fun.
Where is there anywhere besides here that people should be looking to see your art, your work, or your future projects?
No, Crystal Corpses FX is my Instagram, and that's where I post all my looks. And then my daughter Sapphire has her Sapphire Amber YouTube channel, which she films a lot of my actors coming out my chair and stuff. And she films a lot of the acting and stuff, so that always works too. But no,
Definitely
that's
check
pretty much
out both of those, Crystal's page and Sapphire's YouTube channel. We love it.
And I shall also say that the haunt industry is rife with Instagram bots and hackers trying to clone and steal accounts. So make sure that there's exactly 2 underscores in this handle. Crystals _ corpses _ FX.
Yes.
That's the one.
Yep.
It's the only one.
Yep.
John!
Hello, John.
Hi, John.
Tuning in just to say hey. What's up? Well, thank you again, Crystal. It's been a blast.
you.
And we will still be continuing this series on. I think the plan is PJ next.
I think so.
I believe
We're headed to Fright Farm.
We're headed to Fright Farm with the next installment. So we'll have
Awesome.
2 weeks from tonight at 7:30, which I believe. Let me not lie to
Did
you
we
guys.
actually-
I made an actual thing, and I
Ah.
actually April 8th. So
There we go.
we have some kind of plan together.
This is the first time we've had like plans for the live streams in a while. We've literally just been.
Sometimes
What
it's
are we
just
gonna
chaos.
talk about?
Sometimes, and honestly, like the plans we made resulted in fewer slides, so it was
It's
easier to build, and we had great conversation with great friends. So
yeah.
it's win win
It's a
win win win.
Yeah, win all around.
Well, we will let you go, Crystal. We've been holding you hostage for far too long, but it has been a blast. And everyone, make sure to go check out her work on Instagram. Go to Field of Screams if you want to see her work live, because photos and videos simply do not do them justice. I believe halfway to Halloween, Haunt and Music Fest is the next event.
Yes.
Yep.
In the meantime, your stuff is linked in the description. I will retroactively go back and add Sapphire's stuff in the description as well. Until next time, I have been Tim.
I'm Katie.
This is Crystal.
I'm Crystal.
Crystals _ corpses _ FX. And every night,
Is a new adventure.
and we will see you again soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Maybe. There we go.